Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little. Here's the star of You Asked For It, Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that goes anywhere in the world just because you asked for it. Tonight from Greece, death-defying deep-sea sponge divers. From Egypt, an artist who's painting the desert blue, and much more. First from Africa, how to catch an elephant. Native tribesmen hunt wild elephants using only primitive weapons of fire and spears. Jack Smith is our reporter, and we're going to watch these daring hunters of the jungles of Chad because Sidney Cohen of the Bronx, New York, you asked for it.
In most African nations, hunting elephants is punishable by heavy fines and imprisonment. But in the country of Chad, because of a severe food shortage and an overpopulation of elephants, the government encourages members of the Mao tribe to hunt and kill them strictly as a matter of human survival. But the Mao are unusual in several respects. They are the only people in the world who hunt elephants with spears. The spears are handmade from metal deposits found nearby in the region around Lake Chad. When the spears are ready, the hunters drink 3 glasses of a strong, sweet tea, their only nourishment for the day of the hunt. Then the horses are led out and saddled up. The saddles, like the spears, are made from simple, crude materials. The Mao are one of the few tribes to keep horses, and they've trained them to overcome their fear of the elephants. With the horses, they are able to track elephants over long distances, far beyond what they could cover on foot. The Mao undertake a hunt only about once a month, because one elephant can provide enough food for a whole village for that long. Steadily tracking their prey, the horsemen finally come across droppings and broken branches and other signs which tell them that elephants are in the area. Carefully approaching downwind, they spot a lone elephant through the trees. Moving cautiously, the horsemen spread out to surround him. The elephant, sensing danger, tries to get away, but moves into a small grove of trees. Now they have him precisely where they want him, and the stage is set for the kill. Spears and horses are not the only weapons they have. Resourcefully, they light fires to cut off the elephant's retreat. Now the horsemen maintain a cautious distance. They know all too well how often men are killed by a sudden charge of an angry elephant, and this one could charge at any moment. The trick now is to get close enough for a good shot with the spears. It won't be easy. A spear hurled from horseback is tossed away like a matchstick. To bring the elephant down, one man must be willing to risk his life on foot, and he does. In an instant, the elephant is down. The death of an elephant is tragic, but it will feed a village and leave more pasture for those elephants that remain. Thus, the balance of nature is maintained. You asked for it.
Seems a shame to kill such a magnificent animal, but we must remember there are places in the world where people must hunt for food. I mean, we do it in this country. They're called supermarkets. Coming up next, Greek divers who risked their lives for a handful of sponges. We shall return.
And now back to Rich Little.
A sponge. When you go downtown and buy a sponge, do you ever stop to think that somebody has risked his life so you can wash your car? Greek sponge divers go down 200 feet to the ocean floor, and they can work there without oxygen for as long as 4 minutes. It's one of the most dangerous pursuits in the world. Our reporter, Dale Haramoto, was sent to the Greek island of Kolymnos to see how sponge divers live and sometimes die. Because Sophie Jane Freer of Old Creek, Wisconsin, you asked for it.
Rich, the sponge is really a water animal. They're the powder puffs and paper towels of nature. And this island of Kalymnos is the sponge capital of the world.
They grow on the sea floor about 200 feet below the surface. Inside each one is the busy little worm that creates this useful marvel of absorption and softness for its own protection.
These lovely and highly functional products of the sea have been used by mankind for so long, the natives of the island have stopped counting the generations of families who have made their livings from them. They just say, for centuries. First, the sponges are sorted and dried in the sun. Then, the fishermen trample them to remove what remains of the tiny creatures that make all this industry possible. But the worm doesn't take all the risks in this venture. The divers have also paid dearly over the ages. At best, sponge diving is one of the most dangerous of occupations. Modern divers use scuba gear, which allows them to descend to the depths at which the sponge colonies live. But this man, Alexandros Hurdas, is going to show us how it was done in the past and how generations of sponge divers have lived and died. At a depth of over 100 feet, a diver's body is exposed to pressures that would instantly kill the average person. To survive down there for several minutes and then return to the surface as quickly as Alexandros does is almost unheard of. He uses a heavy stone to take him to the bottom as fast as possible, so he can spend most of his time underwater doing his job, gathering sponges. Far below on the ocean floor, the divers work feverishly to select and collect the best sponges they can find. The seconds and then the minutes pass, and still they work. Alexandros' partner waits by this rope, the diver's only lifeline. As the minutes pass and his lungs ache for air, this could be his only hope for survival. If this rope jerks, the diver is in trouble and he will be pulled to the surface. If all is well, he ascends on his own, bringing a cumbersome load of sponges up with him.
We've seen how the sponges are gathered here in Kalymnos by these remarkable divers because you asked for it.
Hey, this is Telly Savalas. Those Greeks are my people, and they're tough, hard men of the world. Hey, Smith, have you seen my lollipop? Draka! And here's a man who isn't afraid to dive into a good story. I didn't know he'd ever taken a dive. Jack Smith.
Thank you, Rich. You know, over the years, we filmed all kinds of circus acts, but none more unusual than that performed by Sabat of Germany back in 1958. It was the most unique act of its kind at that time, and I doubt it will ever be duplicated. Where else will you find a man who hangs by his shoulder blades?
Spider rig lowered. Suspended from it a steel plate which is placed between his shoulder blades. And that's how he holds it. No other support of any kind. No one but Sabat has ever mastered this feat, dangerously high above the arena floor. Until this season, he used the net below, but no more. He's abandoned all safety measures. Now touring with the Franz Alphoff Circus, we're seeing him for the first time in America. Our U.S. cameras photographed him here in the indoor circus arena at Hamburg, Germany. The day before our crew arrived, his regular partner fell during a performance and was badly injured. The girl appearing in this film had never performed with Sabat before. While she was an expert trapeze performer, it took remarkable courage and confidence to try where a veteran had failed. She was taller and heavier than his injured assistant, so Sabat knew that this was to be his greatest test. If he could execute this performance without incident, his most dramatic moment would be recorded. Every move with great care, well over 250 pounds of weight held by continuous tension of his shoulder blades alone. This is one act where a man is allowed not one instant of relaxation, even as the rig is lowered. A vital moment of rest for Sabat as they prepare for the next and even more difficult test. Hands grasped behind his back for maximum strength. Keep in mind that the girl has never performed with Sabat before. What she'll attempt demands far greater coordination and control. Now the supreme test. The slightest release of those incredible shoulder blades could mean disaster. Sabat, the man with the fabulous shoulder blades. You asked for it.
Jack, that Sabat would make a great executive.
How come?
Well, he's a man who really knows how to shoulder his responsibilities.
Right, though.
Aren't you glad I said that, not
Yes,
you?
very much.
Coming up next, an artist improves on Mother Nature. He painted a desert blue.
And now back to Rich Little.
This is Humphrey Bogart. Now, if you want to go to faraway places like Casablanca, or hear Sam play it again, You Asked For It is ready to meet your requests. But there's two things you have to do. First, you got to whistle. And then you got to write to You Asked For It, P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028. If you and I don't like the view in one place, what do? Well, we move to another place, right? But not the man we're going to see. He's Jean Véron, and he decided to make the desert blue. Janet Langhart has the story, and we're going to Egypt to watch it happen because Don Densel of Adrian, Michigan, You Asked For It.
The Sinai Desert is one of the bleakest, most desolate spots on Earth. It's inhabited mostly by a few Bedouins and camels and blue rocks. Blue rocks? Yes, even whole mountains of blue. But nature didn't paint those rocks blue. That was done by a man, and one of the most ambitious painting projects ever undertaken. Jean Varème, a Belgian artist based in Paris, came to the Sinai in pursuit of an impossible dream. He was determined to escape what he calls civilization's climate of absurdity by performing an act of life: painting the desert. He found what he was looking for on this high plateau about 20 miles from the famous St. Catherine's Monastery. Then he spent 2.5 years negotiating with the Israeli and Egyptian governments to get permission. The job required more than 12 tons of acrylic paint, made especially in Holland and designed to last for many years. Finally, the work began. Why did he choose blue? Well, he likes blue, and blue seldom occurs in nature except in the sea and sky. Aside from the paint, he needed 19 tons of supplies and equipment. The work took 4 months to cover selected rocks over an area of almost 28 square miles. Jean Varème says that some things in life don't seem to be rational. But whether it's rational or not, he accomplished his impossible dream. He left behind a painted desert, so remote that few but Bedouins ever see it. But the Bedouins like it. And you saw it because you asked for it.
This is Don Rickles. I've heard of guys painting the town red, but blue. And who wants to go to Egypt to see colored rocks? Am I going too fast for you, sir? Why don't you put it on a cassette, play it backwards on your head? Hope you jump on your bike and your seat's missing. Anyway, gang, did you ever get the feeling the world's on tape and one of the reels is missing? Good. This guy over here got it. Give him a cookie.
Rich Little will return with more of You Asked For It. And now back to Rich Little.
Boy, more strange requests, and they keep coming in. Dear You Asked For It, I would like to see a rich man go to heaven, a camel pass through the eye of a needle, and Shelley Winters fit into a Volkswagen. Well, that's it for today. We'll see you next time on... You Asked For It. Good night, everybody.
John Harlan speaking. You Asked For It is a Sandy Frank production.